Desumbo Badejoko. You're welcome this morning, Mr. Sumbo.
Good morning.
It's good to always have you.
It's always a pleasure.
There was a new development yesterday talking of this old coalition. But before we go into that, let's have your overview of the old coalition and what you think about it.
Forming coalition is as old as this country. It's not a new thing. We've had it across the republics, apart from the Third Republic that was moribund. The development of 2 days ago didn't come as a surprise. It's expected, and at least it put an end to certain narrative that has been flying prior to that time, which is the narrative of having one-party states. At least that put that to rest, and we know now we have a formidable opposition, and that's where people like us see it as a welcome development. At least the ruling party will have a run for their money. They will not be so relaxed, thinking 2027 will be a walkover like some people have been insinuating. But at least now we have a formidable opposition, the opposition figures coming together across party to really infuse themselves into a new platform. And we'll see how it goes from there.
Okay, so yesterday there was a new development. The former presidential candidate of the ADC in the 2023 election, Mr. Dumebi Kachiko, says he will challenge the former chairman of the party, Mr. Ralph Nwosu, for handing over the party to former Senate President David Mark. Says it was illegal and he has no right to do that. Do you think this is the beginning of the end of the coalition?
I doubt that. Because if you look at the caliber of people that have come together to form the coalition, you know, these are formidable individuals. And I think Dumebi alone cannot handle all of them. And of course, if the man that resigned his leadership of the party is recognized by INEC, then whatever the presidential candidate thinks may not matter, because INEC recognition is what is most important here. And if the man is the one recognized by INEC as the leader of the party or the chairman of the party, and of course the other escorts to the end of the UC is fully carried along, then whatever they have been done on, was it Wednesday or Tuesday, would be valid. But it's promised to go to court. If he goes there, then the court would be the one to now do the proper interpretation and make him know whether or not he's right.
But don't you think the foundation is already somehow? Because looking at the figures in there, the back and forth that we have had already, and somehow, some way, Rotimi Amaechi saying he wants to be the one going for president. Well, many people expected someone else to be the leading figure.
I think it's to be too early to be talking about who is going for presidency or not.
But then there's Amaechi already fronting himself.
He's not the only person to do that, and he will not be the last to also do that. Every one of them that have come together are presidential lawful. Each and every one of them, they have the credentials required to run for that office. But the thing is, a coalition has just come and they have a pro tem national chairman or an interim. What is before them now is to have the congresses and the convention, a proper one, having full-fledged party structure, which the ADC may not have, or even if they had before now, would not be as formidable or will not be formidable enough to run for the 2027 the way it should be. So that's the first thing they need to do now, between now and December, is to put the party in proper perspective by putting the needed structure from ward to national in place. That is when they can now begin to talk about, okay, who run for which office and how they intend to carry out their primaries. But the first thing they need to do is to restructure the party in the way that it will be formidable enough to contend with the APC.
But then we saw the special advisor of the president on media and public communications, Sunday Dari, who called them political desperados, the key figures who are bringing them together. And yes, he was highlighting the times and the precedents of the likes of Rotimi Amechi, David Mark, and others. Don't you think already this like spoiling the broth for them?
That's just politics. And as far as I am concerned, every single politician in Nigeria is a political desperado.
Okay, so let's look at this coalition now, and we realize that for all political parties we have complained about in Nigeria, you know, they are all members coming out of these political parties to also, you know, be in the coalition. What difference do you think they will make?
I wouldn't see much difference because as a matter of fact, if you look at what we call parties in Nigeria, in advanced democracy, most of them do not qualify as parties. In the political science will say they are platforms which people run. And they've even taken it further to mean a special purpose vehicle, which the APC is being seen have, or the ADC now, is being seen as. You know, there was this initial narrative about the SDP. Then there was this motion of formation of a new party, ADA, and all of a sudden, we had the ADC housing the coalition. And it was on that day that we begin to hear that, well, they've actually been talking for 18 months. And I calculated 18 months would be January 2024. That cannot be true. You understand? So, but they have the right to their opinion, and they are the ones that have said it. I'm just refusing to give the benefit of that doubt because I do not believe that is true. If you say 6 months ago, that may be very close to being true, because if truly you've been discussing for 18 months, and why are we hearing SDP? The first person to bring about or to echo the idea of coalition was Nasir El-Rufai. And he wasn't really quiet about it. Then Atiku Abubakar, took up the leadership, being the father figure amongst them. And we've been hearing news about their meeting, consultation, visitation to some people who they believe could help the cause and all that. And we now have what we have. So I would say would hold on to see how the whole thing will play out. But for now, it's too early to say this is what will be the outcome. And whatever the ruling party is saying too is politics.
Okay, so the coalition said their goal is to unseat this current administration come 2027. Do you really think they are on that path at the moment?
That's the only goal they could have. The primary purpose of any political party is to take power, run for the office and take power. And that is what the goal interprets to be.
But with everything that has been transpiring for the past few days, and of course, what we as speculations we're having, do you think they can actually achieve that? Is that feasible?
Anything is visible in politics because a coalition has just been birthed. There will now be people who will join later. 2013, we had the APC. Though not a coalition, but a merger. And those who were the founding members of the APC were known. So they began to do their work, restructuring the party. Along the line, it became attractive. Then a whole group of the new PDP joined the APC. And then that makes it larger. And that new PDP became a bloc within the APC. Because it has become larger, and the new PDP already have elected members, political office holders within them. And of course, that increased the number. And by virtue of that joining, they took the National Assembly leadership as having the majority of members in the place. So going into the election, people were already seeing that, okay, this new party may likely win and fielding somebody like Muhammadu Buhari, who had been contesting and was winning at least 12 states, plus the forces that now joined that were holding sway in the South, people started joining that. This party would, I want to be part of the ruling. So something similar may happen. What they should be cautious of is this. President Tinubu is not the same kind of personality as President Jonathan. If you think the Jonathan card can work for Tinubu, you may be making a mistake. But I believe these are veteran politicians, highly experienced, and of course they are masters of the game. They should have factored all those into their own equation. But to think they won't get a fight, Jonathan may say, my ambition will not cost the blood of any man. But what if this one declared a do or die? So these are things they need to put into consideration, because a man that wasn't given any chance to win his party's ticket and won, thinking that, okay, the party has not done well in 8 years, but still won under the same party. Now being the president, you can't just think he's a small boy or he will just be smiling at you, sipping tea. He will definitely put up a fight. The way and manner he will fight is still unknown until the real contest begins. But for now, they should just allow the party men amongst them to bother about that. It is opportunity for them to now begin to look at their policies, because Nigerians will be the ones to decide at the end of the day. And of course, whosoever the combination that the coalition will present will also matter, because if they are not attractive enough to Nigerians, then the whole thing may be an exercise.
But don't you see it as, don't you think they are also guilty of the same crime, of the same thing they are accusing this administration of? Talking of members of the coalition now.
Well, if you are asking for my opinion.
Yes, your opinion.
I do not believe in them.
Okay.
Why? Because I'm not seeing a new breed among them. These are ex this, ex that, former this, former that coming together. And if you are talking about Nigerian democracy, it didn't start in 2023. It began in 1999. So, if you had the whole thing up, virtually all these people have come together and played one role or the other in whatever rot that we think we are facing now. So now put the whole thing on the man at the helm of the affairs, who believe is trying to really clean up the mess. But when you are doing renovation or you are trying to perform a medical surgery, it will be painful. That is his narrative. Whether or not Nigerians believe that is a different ball game. So to now say, okay, what he's trying to repair, those of you that caused the problem now think he's the one causing the problem. Nigerians will look at all of this, except they will be able to present someone that will be appealing to the conscience of the masses. I doubt if the thing may work out, because what new thing would they be telling Nigerians?
But who could that be now? Because you just mentioned something. Now there's an individual who many Nigerians believed was different from the rest, from the last elections. The coalition comes up, and then immediately we are reminded that during the days of Abacha, he was one of them. That's Peter Obi. And now people are looking hard. Already looks like people are going hard with the conspiracy theories that many of those inside the coalition as we speak maybe have been sent to infiltrate the ranks of the coalition just to fill in the presidency on what is happening in there, so that they can scheme and do their tactical gameplay. That is the conspiracy theory that many people are going along with now. How do we get rid of theories like these? How do we stop it from thriving?
We can never get rid of them.
You know, it points at 2027.
That is a fact.
The more it continues, the more people will.
It is part of the game. Gimmicks, having mole in camps, they are not new developments. So it's part of the game. They themselves would know that definitely there are moles among them. For instance, the man that has emerged as their interim publicity secretary, as far as I know, is an ally of Bukola Saraki, who is still in the PDP and is among those who are trying to rebuild the party. And that is one party that we cannot just excuse from the equation. No. They will still be a force come 2027. whether anybody believes that or not. They will put their house in order and they will present candidates that will run for that election.
How would they do that?
How would they do that? They're already on it.
It looks bleak already with what's happening. Some people already complaining they're living into Wiki and Co.
My brother, we are in July now, 2025. We are talking about an event, election that will take place more than 18 months to come. Nothing is bleak. Yes, the only thing that can affect the PDP's chances is if they are not able to organize a convention, party convention, before the end of the year.
So you think PDP still, there's still a chance for PDP?
That is the strongest opposition. They only had weakness. They became weak because of individuals and, of course, the failure of the leadership to punish errands.
But at this point, do you
members.
think they're already putting their house together?
If Anyanwu has been reinstated,
Yes.
I think they are doing so. So, Anyanwu will serve out his tenure by October. They will have a new NWC by the end of the year. And that is what will now run, determines who gets the party's ticket. Because that is the initial fear, whether or not that problem will not be resolved. Those governors that left on that account.
But you also agree, or you also see that there are so many factions in the PDP.
There are not so many factions.
There are some factions, so many of you, there are factions in the PDP. And as it stands now, some of them are even joining the coalition. And they've not even, said, Amaechi announced yesterday. I was watching his interview, and he said he has officially left the PDP.
The APC.
The APC. And, talking of this coalition, some members have not declined the political parties they are in.
In the next couple of months,
I know we are going to see that.
the real members of the ADC would be known.
But do you think this crisis in PDP, talking of the factions, different factions that they are in the party, do you think it will also, is it not a way, of their chances being slim coming 2027?
It's too early to talk about chances. Even within the APC that seems to be a little bit organized, there are aggrieved persons. We just mentioned Amaechi leaving now. Aregbesola was in that party. You understand? There are some other individuals. El Rufai was in that party before moving to the SDP. And now he's meeting with the coalition. That means he would have changed parties, 3 parties within a year, if he eventually declares for the ADC. You understand? Because you cannot be in 2 parties at the same time. You'll have to just identify with only one.
Of course.
Now, the national chairman of the party just resigned, and they have an interim now. Whether or not his resignation will keep him in the party or not is a different ball game. There is this rumor that perhaps Kwankwaso is coming, and if he's a sworn enemy of Kwankwaso, he may decide to leave. And if he does, he will not be the first national chairman of a party to leave the party and join another one. Others have done it in the past. So, it's not something that we can conclude on just yet. We need to hold on a bit, see how it plays out in the next 3 months, when the parties will begin to have their conventions, because that will precede the presidential runs. So when they have their conventions and it was successful, it is only those who fail to have successful convention, and they know the implication. They know. The new law makes it clear. Once your convention is defective, then you do not have candidates, no matter how beautiful your primary is organized, for the election. So they will have to make sure that they work on those internal democracy, which is a major problem with our political parties. Once they have been able to achieve that, have their full NWC, uncontested, undisputed, fully recognized by INEC, then people can now throw in their...
So at this, right now, what is expected of these political parties? What should they be doing at this point?
They should be working, reconciling aggrieved parties, pinning down those, as many as they can, especially for the PDP now, because majority of their own big wigs are already romancing the new ADC. So if they can keep as much as they possible within the party, reconcile all aggrieved persons, come up with an NWC that will be recognized at the party convention. Then, that is what every other one should be doing. APC too should not relax. They now know that, yes, the opposition is not weak anymore. They are come together and they are going to be giving them a run for their money. So they need to put their own house in order and prevent people from an implosion from their own party. So do you think
this coalition is becoming a threat to APC?
It will be a threat, because why will it be a threat? They need to remain intact. Because it wasn't the emergence of APC that actually defeated the PDP in 2015. It was the implosion within the PDP that actually led to the defeat. Because if the likes of Amechi, Atiku Abubakar, and all those that left, the 5 governors, had not joined the APC, Jonathan would have been difficult to defeat. So they have to prevent that from reoccurring. Once they have their house intact, then the coalition will have a run for their money. But if they allow the implosion to happen, then it could be a different
Let's talk
ballgame.
about the former governor of Osun State, Rauf Aregbesola. In the grand scheme of things now, how much of an influence do you think he will be able to wield in this coalition? He's now their secretary, the national secretary, from what we are seeing in the formation.
But I don't know what informed his choice as the national secretary, because within the Southwest politics for now, you can't compare the influence he will bring to that of Governor Makinde, for instance. Let's leave the president aside. Let's look at the opposition figure. And Governor Makinde is in the PDP, at least as of today. He may decide to join the coalition tomorrow or decide to repeat what he did in 2023, working for the APC. But as of today, as of this moment, he's still in the PDP and is one of those calling the shots. And we're talking about Southwest. These are people we will be looking at. Is the most influential personality within the Southwest polity, aside the president, for now. So I wouldn't know what the influence of Aregbe would be. I just mentioned that we cannot just excuse the PDP from the equation. They will still be a force, and within the Southwest, they are very popular. So I don't know what informed his own nomination, perhaps because he has been an ally of the president and he will know some weaknesses that he can share with them, perhaps. But I don't know if they feel he can win or deliver Osun State to them, or his influence in Lagos can be resurrected. But it is best known to those in the coalition.
When we were faced with a gale of defections to the APC, questions were asked about what would become of disgruntled members of the APC who felt they were influential enough, that they held enough weight to help the president push for his presidency bid for the second term, as well as their own personal ambitions. Now that we have more influential figures with the gale of defections, don't you think there will be more outgoings from the APC? We have seen some of them join up with the ADC now.
Only Amechi has done that.
But he's going to be bringing some others with him.
I am looking at what somebody like Omar Agege would do in Delta. In Akwa Ibom State, I don't think there is really a strong person there. The other strong person is the Senate President. And of course, he has welcomed the governor. And he cannot contest for governor again. He's been governor before. You understand? So for Akwa Ibom State, I think there's no... where we could have issue is that Delta State. And until Omar Agege speaks, we wouldn't know what will come out of it. But he seems to be on his own, because you have a Keyamo who is also mobilizing forces from the real APC group and is from the same area as Omar Agege. So I don't know what he would do. He may decide to go with the coalition. He may decide to say, okay, resign to fate. The governor is already here. He should have a second and we'll negotiate with him. I'll take over from you if he is on his side. Politics is about negotiation and compromise. So the defection that most people, we just saw the defection in the open thing. They're actually product of intense negotiations. Before those men moved into the party, they negotiated their way. And of course, what they wanted to get had been defined to them, and what they cannot have has also been made known. So that is the way things are for now. But now that we have a coalition, of course, some people that may be looking in the direction of APC may suddenly see the coalition as, I think I can. And if a sitting governor is coming to join the coalition, they will welcome him with open hands because that is somebody coming with state resources and they need money to run the coalition.
I'm talking of the gale of defections. You know, so many political parties have come out to say APC is sowing the seed of discord amongst them. How true is this?
That is an opinion which they have the right to. Whether or not, even if they are sowing the day, then what are you doing about it? You understand? It is your own house, and you are saying somebody is coming to plant explosive there. Well, then what are you doing? You have discovered the explosive.
Based on the gale of defections, and of course, when people make up their mind, it is difficult for you to say, oh, you still have to stay in these political parties. Now, we've seen so many people, you know, decamp to APC in the past few weeks, and it feels like there were rumors that there will still be more. Just like we have coalition, some others are also leaving their political parties to join the ADC. But do you think this gale of defections have anything to do with, you know, the internal crisis amongst these political parties?
Well, for the defections to APC, I think there will be a kind of reduction, or let me say it will be coming at a slow pace. I just said some people will now hold on. You understand? Because one thing is pushing them around, their interest. That is what is pushing them around. Where would this interest be best advanced? That is where they would want to be. If I go here, would my interest be advanced? Will I be allowed to have my way? Now, the coalition has emerged. Some people want to hold on. Let's see how this thing will be. It is next year that we will know the strength of the coalition as well as the strength of the ruling party. For now, people will still be, even the strength of the PDP will also be known next year. For now, they are all weak. They are just gathering momentum. By that time, they would have gathered their full momentum. We would have now know their stand. The next thing will now be, apart from the ruling party who has nominated the president in advance, the next thing will be, who are those people that will be presented as alternative to the president before Nigerians?
You're an analyst, and I know that you have observed the political sphere for a while now. I want us to do something similar to football.
Okay.
You're seeing the formation of the ADC. You're looking at the PDP for what it is presently, and you're looking at the ruling party also. So, say they're all gunning for the title, which is 2027. What would you advise the coalition to do at this point in time? What do you think they should do, tactical-wise, to ensure that they are front runners come 2027?
For the coalition, the most important thing for them to do is to first surrender their ambitions. Build the party first. Make the party attractive. Then, you now make a decision. Let everybody know where you have zoned the party tickets ahead of time. Not that you just come up with a surprise. And let the decision be a consensus. Not that some people will be aggrieved about it and will now work against you from within or decide to leave you alone. So once they've been able to do that, then their primaries should be contested fairly, just like the APC did when ahead of 2023, so that there will not be contest. You know, nobody challenged the nomination of Tinubu as the presidential candidate for APC because the primary was contested keenly and he won. If they do that, there will not be post-primary squabbles or litigations that will give them problem. Once they are able to surpass that, then people will see them as being serious. You understand? And even if the Nigerians may be expecting them to present, didn't emerge, But at least if the process of his defeat at the primaries is fair enough, they will understand and reason with them.
This,
But if they don't do that, if one part of the one group within the party decide to bully others because they have the numbers, then there will be problem. And once they have that problem, then APC will have a walkover.
remember that the ADC was in existence before now, and that's one of the reasons why we have the presidential candidate from 2023 as Mr. Dumebi Kachuku still speaking and voicing out. How do we have him, resign to fate, just as we look at other candidates coming through? Because I know you would feel somehow about
He's an individual. You understand? He was a candidate. He lost the election he contested for. There is somebody flying the flags of the party in the National Assembly, a federal lawmaker. In fact, is the only person that is elected on the platform of the party in the House of Representatives. Do you understand? He has also spoken, and he has proven Dumebi wrong, that Dumebi cannot say the man is not the authentic chairman of the party that he is. That he negotiated with him before joining the party the same way, and he said he never knew Dumebi, that he has been in the party since 2018. He didn't know Dumebi until 2023, when he got the party nomination.
That's talking of the lawmaker from...
You understand, Abejide? So, and he said he had made more impact and contribution to the party, and he said he was duly consulted when the coalition talks were being held at the background. He just refused to join them because his allegiance is to the president as an individual. Do you understand? Now, Dumebi will have that person to deal with. If he has come up to say, I'm aware of the coalition talk, I am just not interested in it, and so I have refused to join them. And he was asked to say, well, I will make my own decision known, whether I will remain in the party with them or look for another platform. So, that is within the party. You understand? So, Honorable Abejide has more say in the ADC equation than Dumebi Kachuku. Though in political party arrangements, once somebody gets the ticket of the party, you understand, he is the office holder for that party, pending the time another primaries will be contested. For example, if somebody gets the governorship nomination of a party, contested the governorship, lost the election, he still remains the governor for that party till another candidate will emerge. So it is in that capacity that Dumebi could be speaking. And I want to believe, if he's being sincere, he would also have been consulted by the former chairman. He would also have been consulted. If Abejide could be consulted, definitely, he may just take them for granted. To say they come in through the back door as quoting him now, I want to believe that statement may not be true. But of course, he is the only one that knows whether the truth in what he's saying. He is the only one that can say that. But I'm just, as an analyst, it doesn't add up to me. You may not like the faces of those who have come in, or you may see they are definitely going to rob you of your chance of running again. There are other platforms too. But to just say they came in through the back door, I don't want to share that opinion.
Okay, now that it looks like the coalition is becoming a threat to the APC, what strategies do you think they should, adopt? How do you think they should move from here on?
You mean the coalition or the APC?
The APC.
The APC should now know that, well, it's not going to be Uhuru. It's now going to be a contest and not a walkover. So they will put their house in order first. They are the ruling party. They have not been governing to serve the masses. They need to shift their focus from the elite to the masses, because the elite have benefited from the policies. Anybody telling you he has not benefited among the elite is lying. They have all, including those in the coalitions, they've all benefited from the president's policy. So he had that one against them. Do you understand? And posterity-wise, they will have to contend with that too. But they have benefited. But now, masses, you don't have to wait till 2027. Nigerian masses will collect your money and not vote for you in 2027. People are that wise now.
Are you sure people are that wise?
They are.
Okay.
They are, because You know, everything will always have expiring dates. As far as I know, I believe vote buying has expired in 2023. Come 2027 is going to be a different ball game. You need to govern. We're already seeing signs. You understand? And even if you look at the enthusiasm from the people about the coalition, it's not there. It's not there. Some are just doing like this, waiting to say, okay, they are talking now is not interesting to them. Give us your candidates. As far as some group of people are concerned, if it is not Mr. Hay, forget about us. We are not interested in your coalition. You understand? And some people believe, well, anybody you present, it is anything else apart from Tinubu, that is the opinion of some people. But we are talking about party politics. And it is a contest that will be based on party. You need to have boots on the ground. That's why I said the coalition, that is their first assignment. Get as much loyalists in all the 8,000 wards that we have in the country. You understand? To begin to line to the people that would always protect their interests. Not that those that will sell them out at the election. Those that will protect their interests, because these are things that matters. Just like the Labour Party, at least they were like 70,000 short of party agents in the last election. Imagine what will happen in those polling units where they have no representation. You understand? These are issues that will come up. Though the opposition figures are big people, they can always employ. But it is not just to put fans there. You need supporters. You understand? Going to sports now, you need people like Arsenal fans, not noisemakers like Chelsea. So these are people that would really protect your interests. You know why I'm sorry about apologies to the Chelsea fans? You cannot compare Arsenal fans with Chelsea fans. Arsenal don't win much, but their fans will always shout Gunners for life. You understand? But when it's the other way, if Chelsea is not playing well, you see some people always abusing the coach and doing all that. But that is okay. That is if you are. They need people that will be die hard for them, not people who only follow the reign of the movement. So that is the thing that they need to work on. It's not something that is going to be easy, because in APC they already have that. Okay. You understand? So they need to work on that. The PDP too need to hold on to their grassroots forces so that they would also not be boxed out of the equation.
I was going to talk about them because there are growing concerns now with the PDP, given the precedence of Nyesom Wike and you know, the stranglehold that we saw from the pre-2023 elections. There is a Dele Momodu who is now speaking and is, you know, talking about the politicians who are leaving what he calls the carcass of the party to Wike and his cronies, in quotes, from Dele Momodu. And, you know, you'd understand that there's this call for better action from them, given what happened in 2023. With Atiku now, you know, making the move with the coalition, do you think there'll be a recalibration, re-strategizing within the PDP that would make them a bigger force, like you said they would be?
Look, people like Dele Momodu, as far as the PDP is concerned, their opinion doesn't matter. It belongs to the ranks of itinerary politicians, people that always move around. You understand? You cannot compare people like that to a body judge. You understand? Even the Wike they are talking about, these are people that have never moved away from the party since inception. When people like that talk about that political party, those are the ones you take serious, not people who are in NCP today, NNPP tomorrow. They are already romancing the coalition, like Atiku Abubakar himself. You understand? If you add that to the number, that would be like the fourth political party Atiku Abubakar will be in since 1999. You understand what I'm saying? Including Peter Obi and some other of them. But you can't compare those who have been loyal to their party. If the party is falling, they would strive hard. That is cheap body judge for you. You understand? So people like that will not open their eyes and allow some people that only think about their interests and ambition to destroy what they have labored to build. So, in as much as we still have the likes of Chief Bode George in the PDP will not fall. They will reorganize and be a force in that 2027 election. Anybody thinking otherwise should think again. That is just the truth. Do you understand? Because that's one political party that has remained intact since 1999. APC just came in 2013. You understand? Before APC, there were ACN, ANPP, CPC, and all that. You understand? But PDP has remained PDP since 1998 that it was formed. So you can't just look at such a political party and say, no, these ones, they have problem now, so that problem will lead to their demise. Anybody thinking like that is not a politician. It's just a desperado, like
looking at the
like
coalition
you said earlier.
and members of the coalition now, do you think it's more like PDP versus ADC now? How do you think PDP, what chances do you think PDP have with the coalition also?
They have structure. That is one strength that they have. They have political office holders. They have governors in their rank. That is funding. Now, this coalition do not have all this yet, except they have a governor that will join them. Others are just individuals. Do you understand? They will have to spend their reserve loot to fund the party. And they will be very skeptical because they will be thinking, to what end will I be spending this money? Will I get the ticket eventually? You understand what you're saying here? Are we sure we're even going to win? Because they will still be looking at what the ruling party will say or do about it. I told you, Jonathan and Tinubu are not the same people. That one could just fold his hands and decide not to. But this one, you know, if you can beat you to your game as an ordinary person, what makes you sure that now that he's the president, he will just close his eyes and say all is well? He will not do that. So, the PDP has strength against the ADC, and they should note that. And because of what is happening now, some people may still end up coming back to PDP among them. It is those who are ambitious that are pulling their followers by force. Atiku Abubakar, Tambuwa, and the rest of them. Those are the ones that are ambitious. Wike already knows his position ahead of 2027. You understand? He wants to keep the party intact. Already he's working with the APC. And some people are saying, it's not compulsory in the camps. And he will not be the first to do that. The likes of Bola Ige also did. They were in Haiti, they served in Obasanjo's government as a minister. So it's not the first thing, it's not a new development, the way some people make it to appear. So these are things that are there. And when the time comes, unfortunately, he died in service. But before his death, he was going to resign his office and go back to contest under the AD. You understand? So, that is there. Wike has what he wants to do. He wants to be the landlord of Rivers State, learning from the president who is the landlord of Lagos. So that seems to be what Wike's interest is. You understand? For now. So he will do everything to protect that. And also help to rebuild the PDP. The PDP needs funding. They have people. They know they have governors. They have senators. They have lawmakers. They would, and you heard the interim chairman said, they will woo others who are aggrieved and prevent them from joining the coalition. He meant that because he will have the support of the governors of those states where those people are from.
Okay, let's take it now to the electorates, the people, Nigerians. Where do you think this latest development leave Nigerians?
Nigerians are not interested in this latest development. Nigerians, for now, are focusing on the ruling party. Looking at, okay, how with their policies better their lot. And they are also putting their ears to the ground, observing the body language of the coalition. How serious are these people? Will they do something different?
But do you really think Nigerians are focusing on the current administration?
The administration they are complaining about, keep making them hungry. They will focus on them, of course.
When you say focus on them, in what way?
They would be looking at how they do things ahead of the next election. Because, you know, there's this saying, the devil you know is better than the angel you don't see. You understand? In another form, you say a familiar devil is better than a strange angel. some people would.
But you know
have
that was.
that
But you know
opinion.
that was the opinion Nigerians had in 2023. Talking of when the president and Atiku in
Point of
PDP.
correction. That was not the opinion.
That was the
Nigerians had.
opinion because
I will
Nigerians.
prove to you that it is
Mr.
not the
Mr. Sumbo, hold on. In 2023, Nigerians were saying, "Oh, okay, it's better we vote for President Tinubu. We've seen what he has done in Lagos State than bringing in Atiku, who is from the north." And eventually, Nigerians, a lot of outcry at the end of the day. Are you sure
Can
this
I
is not
respond
going
now?
to be the same case?
Can I
Go
respond?
ahead.
Let's do some mathematics.
Okay.
6 plus 6. Respond.
Go ahead.
No, 6
12.
plus 6 plus 1.
13.
Now, 13, is 13 greater than 8 or less than 8?
Mr. Sumbo, I am asking you
Wait.
the questions now.
I know,
really don't know
I'm
where this your
answering.
mathematics is going. No, I
I'm
mean, let's
saying that
just go straight to.
majority of Nigerians voted against Tinubu. That means that was not what they wanted. It was the opposition that were not organized.
Okay.
You understand? Because if he had all those differing votes against him together, he lost the election. But because those votes were not in the same basket, it was shared. His own now became more.
Are you sure this
He
is?
remains the most unpopular president ever elected in the history of Nigeria. So that is on record. He knows that. It was because the APC held on to their own supporters. They didn't allow them to scatter. And their supporters moved to vote for them. And luckily for them, their votes were more than the other ones that were scattered. That's why I said Nigerians did not, en masse, voted. Can you compare Tinubu's election with Buhari's election? You can't. That was the one that Nigeria voted for. You understand? And that is what opposition coalition are hoping would happen in 2027.
But then you mentioned something not so long ago now, and I want you to juxtapose that with a statement someone made on this conversation around the political instability, the coalitions, and the political sphere. Do you think Nigerians are politically aware enough to make the right decision, that is, in 2027?
I will say yes. But you know where the problem is? The elites don't vote. Those are the ones that can make the difference. The village people, they are loyal to their own belief. You may not like that politician at the national level. If it's their own man in that local village, they will always go with direction he tells them to go. You understand? That is what determines the outcome of the general elections that we all see. You understand? And what affected Peter Obi, for instance? A good number of the obedient movement thought there are polling units on the internet. You understand? They were not registered. And those who registered did not collect the PVC. Imagine that number he lost. You understand? Due to non-participation. Had been added to his 6 million, he would have won the elections. Do you understand? That is the problem that this coalition may also contend with. Though the likes of Atiku Abubakar may be thinking they have their own grassroots base too. You understand? But the thing is, time will tell. There are party stalwarts in each of the locales. These are people that determines and they mobilize these people. They feed them daily, they take care of their needs, and wherever they ask them to go, they go. And if these people are allies of the ruling party and they tell them, this is where we are going, the coalition are smart. Why do they look for a platform that is so close to the APC, that will be so close, on the ballots? So that even if there are some mistakes, the person mistakenly press, it will be their own party that they get the... It's part of politics. You understand? Even in unionism, we do that. When we are doing election, we may just decide to tickle the thing alphabetically or decide the other way, just to make it easy for people to identify the candidate that we want to win the election. So these are things that happens. And they need to factor that. Most votes don't come from the cities. The elites will be watching television and be collating the result of the votes that the villagers have gone to cast. Some of us will be on duty. You understand? The reason why I've not voted in the last 2 elections is because I've been busy. Had it been there's a way for me to vote on the move, I would have done so. You understand? You probably would be in this studio monitoring, getting feedback from other areas where your field men would have been. So, minus all of us. Officers on duty will not vote. Minus all of these are people that can really determine their conscience, but these other masses, they are loyal to their beliefs. And in as much as that is there and will be a factor in 2027, it's going to be a big problem for the opposition, especially the coalition, because the PDP have their own loyal people too, that they will always, we call them reserve army. You understand? In strategy studies, that's what they will be. They will always call upon them to really deliver.
So now the power is now in the hands of the people.
It's in the hands of the people. It's in the hands of the people, and we have to bring down that level of apathy. 24% of total registered votes is not an election. Now imagine, we are just 70-something million. Can you now compare yourself to India, where you have over 700 million registered voters?
Thank you very much.
So that is just the problem. We need to, elites will not vote, but they are the ones that speak English like we are doing on television. You understand?
I mean, just like you have not voted in the last
because of the condition that I have to find myself.
You have to look into that coming 2027, Mr. Simbo.
Except they amend the electoral act, make my voter's card flexible. That's okay. The nearest polling unit.
And that's another conversation that should be had, and something that should be looked into.
When you are bringing the topic on that, we'll make suggestions.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Adesumbo Badejoko, a political analyst who has been talking to us on the internal instability, political party internal instability that has been going on for a while. Thank you very much for speaking to this conversation.
Thank you for having me.
We really appreciate your presence also, and for always, coming into the studio whenever we need you. We'll be right back after this break. Please stay with us.